Shrikant, you seem stressed.
Isn't everybody? I mean, I don't know of any person who's not stressed. It's life.
Actually, that is not true. Okay, there are lots of people who are not stressed, and people who are stressed should know that stress is literally killing you.
Literally? Do you mean figuratively?
No, I do mean literally. So, today's episode, we are going to talk about the physical changes in the body, not just short term, but long term, that are slowly killing you, that are caused by stress.
Okay. That is stressing me out.
Okay. So, let me explain first what is stress.
Okay.
Let's start with a story. As usual, our story starts in the African savannah. There is a zebra.
We keep going back there every episode. Well, almost every episode. Go on. Zebra, savannah.
Everything in life is connected to the African savannah where we evolved from. Right?
As we've
Yes.
always established.
Yes. Imagine you are a zebra in the African savannah. Suddenly, a lion shows up in front of you.
Okay.
You have to run for your life.
Absolutely.
Okay? In a fraction of your second, your body responds.
It does.
But let us think of what all is going on in your body to allow you to respond like this, right?
Okay.
To be able to run fast, your body needs to use the big muscles a lot.
Yes.
For that, it needs a lot of energy. For that, the body needs to send a whole lot of glucose and a whole lot of oxygen.
Yes.
And it is sent through the blood by
Correct.
the heart.
Yeah.
So the heart starts beating faster.
Correct.
It starts beating harder, as in it starts pushing with more force. And to get more oxygen, your lungs start taking in more air faster.
So you breathe faster.
So your breathing rate goes up, your heart rate goes up, and your blood pressure goes up. Okay?
Oh.
That is what saves your life. Okay?
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's like, oh, it's easy to say, I just run fast. But in reality, so many different systems have to go into gear at just the right time to be able to save your life.
And they have to go into gear literally instantly because you don't
Yes.
even have time to think. You see
Exactly.
a lion, you run.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, our brain is funny, right? Our thinking brain takes like almost 0.7 seconds to react.
System 1 versus System 2. We've discussed
Yes,
this.
Exactly. And that would be too late.
Yeah.
So this is an automatic process. But before we get into that, I want to talk about, think of all the different physical changes in your body that are happening so that we are a perfect machine for running away from the lion.
Okay, we've discussed the heart beating faster,
Yeah.
the heart beating stronger, and we've discussed lungs taking in more
Oh,
air.
much more is happening.
Okay.
Let me tell you about all the different physical changes that are happening in your body
Okay.
in addition to just the heart
And the lungs.
Okay. So, one simple thing is that you don't have energy to waste on useless things.
Okay.
Right? Which means that if there is food in your stomach and your intestines that is being digested, nobody has time to digest food, dude. Right?
Yeah, when,
that
you,
food,
when you're about to become food yourself,
Exactly.
the last thing you should be doing is digesting your
right.
food.
So digestion stops.
Okay.
Right? That's why, by the way, stress is going to give you indigestion and all kinds of stomach issues.
Okay.
Right? Your senses become extra sharp. Right?
Fair.
You want to hear every little sound. You want to see clearly where to jump, what branches to avoid, and so on. So your pupils dilate, so you can see much more. Your hearing becomes
Sharper.
much sharper. Right? All the senses are on high alert.
Right.
Okay. Blood needs to rush through the rest of your body also fast.
Yeah.
So your veins are told to constrict, which is going to increase the speed of blood going through them.
Yeah, because the heart is pumping with greater force.
Right. And if you constrict something, the speed increases.
Correct.
Right. One important thing is that to send so much energy, you need lots of blood. You can't have the volume of blood reducing.
Correct.
On the other hand, you know you're running, your body needs to cool down, so your sweating has increased.
Yeah.
So you're losing some fluid there that is going to reduce the amount of blood.
Yeah.
So the body sends out messages everywhere saying, anyone wasting fluid, stop doing that right now. Okay?
Okay.
Now your intestines and your kidneys, which were trying to extract fluid from your food and send it out as urine, they are told, stop.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So now all of that fluid is being retained in your body so that it becomes blood.
But we've always seen that in situations like these, you tend to wet your pants.
Yes, that's a very fascinating aspect of our body.
Okay.
So there is this barrier, right?
Yeah.
There is the kidney, which is two-way. It can send fluid out, or fluid that's going out, it can pull it back in saying, no, I need this, right? But once it is in your bladder, that is one way. Now fluid that is in the bladder is only going to go out. It can't be brought back in. Okay. Now imagine you are being chased by a lion and you have like this liter of water sloshing around there, slowing you down. What's the best thing to do with it?
Yeah, that pretty much explains it.
Let it flow.
No, please don't ruin the song for me, because my child actually likes it. But so many systems working in tandem. But that also explains why your mouth goes dry when you're stressed.
Oh, very important point. Your mouth goes dry. All fluid is being withdrawn.
Correct.
So saliva production is reduced. Mucus production in your nose is reduced. Not just that, but also the fluid near your skin is also being withdrawn. Right? So that's why your skin feels a little
tingly, dry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right? So the point I'm trying to make is that throughout the system, there is a state of general alert, and every part of your body is doing something towards this war effort.
Makes absolute sense.
Right? And all of these things are affected. What they are doing is that they are helping with this process of escaping the lion, which means they have stopped their regular work. Right? Your stomach isn't digesting stuff anymore. Your mouth isn't producing saliva anymore. Right?
Your eyes are taking in a lot more light than they need. Your ears are hearing a lot more than they should.
Correct.
Etc. Etc. There's a small flaw in this entire story of yours connecting to the topic that we started with, which is, I have not been chased by a lion in I don't know how many years, but I'm continuously stressed all the time.
Correct. Well, here is the funny thing about our body.
Okay.
Right? Just a lion attack doesn't cause stress. Okay? Even anticipation of a lion attack causes stress.
That's true.
In general, a stressor causes the stress response. Anticipation of a stressor causes a stress response. And that's a good thing because we are ready for the stress before the stress even comes to us. Right? Now, here is the connection. Okay? What the scientists have found, that the stress response you get, heartbeat, heart rate,
lungs,
breathing, eyes, dilation, all of that, you get that even if it is a social stress.
Like?
This time, imagine baboons in Africa.
Okay.
It's a whole herd of baboons. Okay. There's a bunch of males and they are fighting for dominance. Okay.
As they do.
Now, here is what happens, right? One is that at any time, one of the dominant males can be attacked by another male with the intention of taking over as the dominant male. And if that happens, now it's an attack. And you have to fight. And to fight, what do you need? You need muscles to move, you need energy, you need blood to flow, all the same response.
Correct. It's a stress response, essentially.
The other thing about baboons is that if there is a baboon who's not dominant, he's sitting there minding his own business. And the dominant baboon gets angry over something. He just comes and thrashes up the other baboon for no good reason. This is very, very common. And as a result, the baboon who's not dominant and who's just sitting around minding his own business has to constantly be on the lookout for the dominant baboons. The dominant baboon turns towards him and this guy gets what? Stress response. Suddenly heartbeat goes up, blood pressure goes up. All the exact same things happen because he has to be ready to escape from the dominant baboon's thrashing. Right? Now, I want you to imagine your boss as a baboon, dominant one, and you as the baboon minding your own business, and your boss walks past. Stress.
Not difficult to imagine at all.
Right? Not just that. Forget, your boss doesn't even have to walk past. He sends an email. Your Gmail pops up like this.
My heart rate just went up like by 5 BPM, but it still went up.
So what is happening here is the following, right? I mean, your brain, which evolved in the African savannah, and it knows nothing about emails and modern work for salary, right? It thinks, okay, this baboon is going to beat me up.
the only place where you can call your boss a baboon and get away with it. Future IQ.
Yes.
Go on.
Right? So here is the fundamental problem with most of us, right? That we have brains which evolved in prehistoric times. We have institutions which are from the medieval ages, and we have godlike technology. Okay, that's a quote by E.O. Wilson, explains so much of modern life. But the problem is that your body does not understand that an email from a boss is not going to result ever in a situation where you have to get up and run fast for your life.
It's not a life or death situation, very literally life or death situation.
Your brain still thinks it is, because it thinks, oh my God, either that guy is going to thrash me or I'm going to be kicked out of the tribe and then I'm going to starve to death. Right? So all of those is what is causing stress for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. How did researchers even discover this stress response amongst baboons? Were they needling baboons?
Very nice story. Okay. Let's go one step back to lab rats. Okay. So there was this researcher, Selye. He was just trying to understand the response of rats to a particular hormone. The details of that are not important. But as a part of that, his job was to go and give rats injections of that hormone every day. And he was bad at his job. Okay. He would go, he would try to catch a rat, and he was bad at catching rats. So then he would spend like half an hour chasing them around. Then he would manage to catch a rat. And then while trying to give the injection, the rat would slip out, run out again, and so on. Okay. And just it went on and on like this.
Okay.
By the end of his research, I don't know what happened to his original research. Okay. But he noticed that these rats had peptic ulcers, they had swollen adrenal glands, and they have shrunken immune tissues. Okay. So this is three very important things. Okay. Ulcers in the stomach. Second is adrenal glands are swollen, which means the rats are desperately producing lots of adrenaline.
Okay.
And third is immune tissues are shrunken, which means their immune system is not working very well. Okay. And he was wondering what happened, right? So he thought that the hormone that he was injecting the rats with has all of these effects. But he was a good scientist. So he did a what?
A randomized control trial.
Absolutely, right? So he did the same thing with two sets of rats. Okay. One set of rats, he injected them with that hormone. The other set of rats, he injected them with just regular saline water. And at the end of the research, he was expecting that the test group would show all these problems and the other group wouldn't.
But he was still clumsy in both cases.
He was clumsy in both cases, and he saw that both sets of rats had the same problems.
Okay.
He was a terrible rat handler, but a good scientist. So he did another experiment in which he handled rats badly in one set and didn't for the other, and realized that him chasing rats around and giving them injections badly and just making their life hell was causing those changes. Okay. Then he said, oh, let me find out what else causes changes, right? He came up with the word stress to represent all these different things. Okay. And he did things like, okay, keep some rats on the cold roof in winter, keep some rats in the hot boiler room during summer, keep some rats are being forced to do too much exercise, some rats are given surgical procedures too many for no good reason, and in all cases he noticed the same things. What he realized is that stress was causing all these problems. Digestion gone for a toss,
Peptic ulcers,
adrenaline flowing through your body and causing all sorts of issues,
swollen adrenal glands,
immune system gone for a toss, causing
Reduced.
other problems, right?
Correct.
Literally, this is going to shorten your life.
But why is a stress response causing these problems? Because stress response is momentary and things should go back to normal, right?
Correct.
After a while.
That's a very good question, right? Because fundamentally, when you think about it, the stress response saves your life.
Correct.
Right? It is saving the zebra from the lion. It is saving the rat from this monster which was trying to catch it, and so on. Right? Like you said, This would be all normal and fine if the body went back to normal quickly. Okay. Normally that happens, right? We have a system in the body called the parasympathetic nervous system, whose job is to calm us down after the stress response. Okay.
Correct.
The sympathetic nervous system is in charge of the stress response and making everything fast. Parasympathetic nervous system calm you down.
Correct.
Problem is that if you keep getting stressed again and again,
Without giving enough time for the parasympathetic nervous system to recover.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then your body is in that high intensity, high alert state at all times.
Oh.
Okay. Here is the problem with this. If you are permanently in a state of stress, right? Now think of the changes that are happening in your body for stress, right? One important thing is that your body has decided that running away from this predator is the most important thing. So example, okay, you have an infection.
Okay.
Your immune system is fighting the infection.
Right.
In about 2 or 3 days, it will have killed the infection and saved your life.
Correct.
If it doesn't, in 7 days, you will be dead, right?
Thank you for painting that rosy picture, but go on.
Yeah. Problem is that you are being attacked right now by a lion. Okay. 3 days later,
Surviving is not important.
right now, surviving the next 2 minutes is important.
True.
So, immune system is told, stop fighting.
Oh.
Okay. Focus on this first.
I see.
Now, if you are in stress all the time, the immune system never goes back to normal to fight infections.
Correct.
Now, suddenly your immune response is all subdued and you get many more infections, you get sick faster and you die faster, right? Similarly, digestion slows down. You don't digest things properly, you don't build muscles properly, you don't store energy properly for long term because you're just sending all your energy to the muscles.
Yeah.
So imagine this is what is happening. Imagine if you were a country, right? And the stress response is like assuming that your neighboring country is going to attack you at any moment. So now you spend all your money on your army, on the weapon system, on the ammunition, and so on. You have stopped spending money on education. You have stopped spending money on your healthcare system.
On your infrastructure.
You have stopped spending money on infrastructure except on the border, right? So in the short term, you might survive an attack from your neighbor. In the long term, your country is dead. Right? That is what stress is doing to your body.
And your country, as very clearly established.
Yes.
So stress on a longer time scale without giving your parasympathetic nervous system enough time to recover is what is the killer, as you're saying.
So chronic stress, right? Now, why didn't we evolve to handle this?
Yeah.
Because in the African savanna, there was no chronic stress, right? When a lion attacks, 5 minutes later, either the stress is no more or you are no more.
What a way to put it, boss.
That comes from the book Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers by Robert Sapolsky. Link is there. In fact, most of the material of this episode is from that book. But you see the problem, right?
Yeah.
There, everything was short term.
Yeah.
There were no long-term stressors. Like zebras don't have a 40-hour a week job where a lion comes and attacks them every few minutes.
Or sends them an email every few minutes.
Correct, exactly.
Or a Slack message.
Yeah. So that is the problem.
Yeah.
And the analogy I gave of healthcare system shutting down and infrastructure shutting down, that's literally happening to your body in the following, right? Your circulatory system is affected and you get heart diseases, the biggest killer in modern life.
Like we've literally laid out all of the organ systems that are involved in stress. So imagine what happens when those systems are constantly under stress.
Right.
In fact, I just realized that these explanations are a very good portrayal of what anxiety disorders are like. Anxiety is when you're constantly feeling under stress. So your body is also constantly fighting that stress. So anybody who has an anxiety disorder is essentially bringing this or getting this happening to them all the time.
Yeah. So what I do want to do right now is to make sure people understand what all are the important systems that go out of whack because of stress, right?
Yeah.
I already said the blood circulatory and heart system, right? Causing heart diseases of various kinds.
Cardiovascular.
The energy storage. No point storing energy for the long term. It is needed in the short term, right? That ends up in things like diabetes, right?
Okay.
And obesity.
Yeah, because
Okay.
energy is basically glucose and
Correct.
yeah,
All of reproduction is a long-term activity.
that shuts
So
down.
stress is going to reduce that. So that results in things like infertility. Right?
Okay.
Immune system we already talked about. That is going to be subdued, and that will cause all kinds of problems.
Wow.
So the end result of all of this is that you either get diseases like actual infections, or chronic diseases like cancer and diabetes and heart disease. And more importantly, what happens is that you age very, very badly, right?
And faster also, I'm imagining,
Absolutely,
because
yes.
your organ systems are taking on the stress of a lifetime in a very short span of time.
Exactly. So this episode was just an overview of what stress does to your body physically. Okay, we will do other episodes which explain individual systems in more detail and how you should take care of those systems.
Yeah, but I'm thinking there are also good stresses, right? Like exercising is a good stress.
Well, see, that is like a military exercise, right?
Okay.
It is teaching your military how to respond to stress quickly, and also teaching how to calm down quickly.
Yeah, the
right?
parasympathetic nervous system does get into action after the exercise.
Right, both fast response and fast slowdown.
Correct.
Right? Both of these are happening, and you're learning how to do those, right?
Correct.
In reality, when you're actually stressed, when you're forced to do exercise way beyond your capacity, then your body gets stressed, your parasympathetic doesn't get involved, and then you get all the problems of continuous stress, right?
I'll tell you why I brought up exercise. I was basically thinking of ways to continue eating junk food. So if I can exercise and if I can find ways to relax, does that mean I can eat junk food to my heart's content?
No, unfortunately, bad health rests on three pillars, right?
Okay.
One is physical issues, right? So unhealthy food, lack of exercise, that is one pillar.
Okay.
Second is genetic, inherited genes which allow you to deal with some problems and not be able to deal with other problems. And the third is emotional, right? Which is how relaxed you are, whether you have a shoulder to cry on, whether you can reduce your stress, whether your parasympathetic nervous system works well or not, right?
Yeah, that's where usually the burger helps.
Correct. The problem is that stress is never the root cause of a problem, right? But it just makes all the problems worse by slowing down the systems that are supposed to deal with the problems, right? Stress doesn't give you an infection. Stress will make your infection much worse because your immune system is suppressed that way, right?
Okay. But should we really be putting emotional stress on the same level as physical stress?
Yes, like I explained in this episode, that stress, emotions in your brain actually have an impact, physical impact on your body. Okay, there is research showing that during top chess tournaments, right, the grandmasters' metabolism is at the same level as the metabolism of Olympic athletes.
Oh.
Okay, so the brain working over time has that kind of an effect on the body. So yeah, emotional can have actual physical impact on your body.
So this episode has been a lot of stress, literally, figuratively, physically, emotionally.
See, I don't want you dying. I want you to reduce your stress.
Thank you.
Everyone knows how to reduce stress. Okay, quit smoking, minimal alcohol use, increase your exercise, have a normal body weight. Okay, very, very important is to have social connections, right? A warm, stable marriage is going to reduce your stress quite a lot. Of course, unstable one will increase the stress, but friends, family, community, all of these, sharing, caring, having a shoulder to cry on, these reduce your stress. They give you mature, resilient coping styles to deal with stress. Okay, religion and spirituality also help with stress quite a lot, right? Another thing that you can do to reduce your stress is to only get stressed or anxious about the things you can control, and not get stressed about things that are out of your control.
The serenity prayer.
Correct. And focus on positives. Meditation helps. Okay. All of this everybody knows. The point of this episode is for you to realize that you really, really need to do these things, because if you don't do them, the stress is killing you, literally.
But don't take stress about that. Chill, calm down. That's the message of this episode. Not that you have to do these things or else you will be stressed.
Yes.
More like you should do these things or stress will affect you really badly.
Yes.
I know this episode has been a lot more stressful than our previous episodes, but we are planning a couple more episodes on the same topic because stress is an important thing in our current lives and we need to be aware of it and we need to also be aware of how we can reduce it. We are not going to turn into a life coaching channel or a happiness coaching channel. That much is for sure, but knowledge is power. Francis Bacon. I am Shrikant. He's Naveen. This is Future IQ.
If you liked this episode and you want to reduce your stress, check out our episodes. One is Stop Watching the News, that will reduce your stress, and the other is The World is Improving, so all the stress you have about the future of the world is unfounded.